Alright, Sage Wanderer coming at you from my van down by the river. So, yeah, weapons of Antifa. Man, that video took off. It's got close to 80,000 views right now. And I think it's because people are very curious about what they might face in the event that Antifa becomes an armed terrorist group. So, I'll touch briefly on that video. Man, the comments, brutal. You guys are brutal. So, you know, what's better, Ford or Chevy? What's better, the Glock or the 1911? What's better, the AR or the AK? You can't win no matter which side of those arguments you pick. Somebody is going to skewer you. But I would like to talk briefly about my statements about the AK-47. So, my experience with the AK-47 is going to be very different from other people's. And here's why. There's not a firearm, I think, on the planet that has more variations and levels of quality than the AK. My experience with the AK-47 is with the Romanian Wasser 10. Okay, so, if you've got a milled receiver AK, you've got customized parts, you've worked on it, and, it's your primary weapon, yeah, you're going to be a lot more effective. There's reports of Russian AK-47s that, people have taken those miraculous 1 in a million shots out to 1,000 yards. I mean, there's 1,000 meters on the iron sights for a reason. Personally, I can't see 1,000 meters. That's a long ways off. Now, having said that, the numbers that I quoted you, saying that the AK is probably only good out to about 200 yards, I was referring to Antifa, not you. You practice with your weapon, you're trained with your weapon is customized, and it's probably not a Wasser 10. So there's a lot of variance, and I mean, even amongst the Romanian guns, some are part guns, some are original factory guns made for the military. There's I'm no expert on the history of that weapon. What was I basing my 300-yard shot on and the iffiness of a 300-yard shot? Well, trust me, it wasn't with custom ammunition from a sandbag rest at a range. It was a scenario shooting in a three-gun match where I was up against everyone else who had the AR platform. So, in those scenarios, typically you'd say, here's an example, you'd start in a vehicle with, you draw your pistol and you'd engage targets at, that 7 to 15 yard range, and then holster the pistol, get the rifle from behind the seat of the vehicle you're in, drop down, shoot at a 300, a 10 by 12 plate, 300 yards away, prone, laying down in the gravel. So, in that scenario, the AK did not perform well for me, but I still chose it, and that was many, many years ago that I had that experience. I still chose it because of its reliability, ruggedness, and like one of my viewers said, there's not a lick of difference between that gun and the AR in the hands of a guy who knows what he's doing, and I believe that till you get to the 300 mark. Then you need to have a better AK. You need to have, a lot of practice with them. Antifa is not going to be effective beyond 200 yards with that weapon. They're going to spray a lot of lead. Now, could they do better with an AR platform? Potentially. But none of that matters now because of what happened yesterday. George Soros donated $18 billion, that's with a B, $18 billion to his foundation, which is masked as a charity, but all of his charitable work are about overthrowing constitutional governments in favor of communism. And I think that the bulk of that money is going to be poured into groups like Antifa for this November 4th uprising. So with that kind of money, all bets are off. As far as we know, we could be facing RPGs. As far as we know, we could be facing snipers from Blackwater or some other mercenary group. We could be facing hardened troops from other countries. With $18 billion, anything is possible. You can finance a war with that kind of money. So my discussion is moot about the AK. Who knows what these people are going to be armed with? And, you know, I said that they would only have 2 or 3 guns amongst them. That was at the previous level of financing. With $18 billion, they may all be armed, and they may all be armed with better weapons than you and I have. Better weapons than are what are legally available to us. Just look at Las Vegas. How many people are saying that that was a military belt-fed machine gun, the M240B? Yeah. So all bets are off on what Antifa might or might not have. I was hoping we'd face a rabble-rouser group of people who didn't know what they were doing, were underarmed, and just going to use the human wave technique to get their way. But who knows at this point. And I hereby officially bow out of the AK-47 versus AR discussion. You guys fight it out all you want. I hereby bow out of the Ford versus Chevy. I'm going to get in trouble for that. I'm such an instigator. Yeah. Cowboys versus Raiders. You guys just, you guys just hash all that out if you want to. Don't pick on me. I'm done with it. I chose the AK because at the under 200 yard mark, it's reliable, it's awfully deadly, it's easy to operate, and yeah, I'd give you the Samuel L. Jackson quote, but I'll just leave that up to you to figure out. Hopefully I won't ever need it. One of the reasons I didn't worry about having a long-range weapon, because if I get to 300 yards and I have the opportunity, I'm transitioning to my 270, which I know is deadly, way out there. And I've got, I got horns on the wall to prove that. Antlers. God, I got to be so careful what I say. No wonder news is so fake and they read it off a teleprompter, because if you make one little mess up, holy crap, people think it's the end of the world. All right, so till next time, God save the Republic.